In a perfect world, my senior design will differential equation you in half, like lasers on a shark. Misumi brings configurable components to your final project without spending $1 billion. Fine print.
What comes to mind when you think factory automation? Probably the state-of-the-art Tesla plant. However, it's much more than that. A wide range of influential products used in everyday life are all made by automation. Apple's iPhone, Boeing's Dreamliner, Raytheon's Predator drone, Intel's processor, GE's MRI, Red Bull, and even Pfizer's Viagra to keep production on the rise. Every engineer in the industry will have to interface with automation to some extent in their careers. Here's the basic breakdown. When designing with linear motion, ball screws, shafts, and bushings are used to move components or tools. Power transmission components are needed for coupling the motors and using gears for reduction gearing of a motor. You can use rotary motion products such as bearings with housings for supporting rotary shafts being driven by a motor. Rubber bumpers are needed when moving pallets which may impact each other. Pneumatics or hydraulics would be needed for any type of fluid flow application. Locating pins and stages are used for locating the components to perform operations. Washers, collars, or fasteners are needed for assembling the machine. You will need switches and sensors for automating a machine. Materials are the most basic item needed. There are a wide variety of materials that can be used in each application, and it may not always be intuitive. For instance, in a high heat environment, you may need to use a plastic over a metal since the metal can expand. Engineered plastics such as PEEK have been made to withstand high temperatures. Given all that, wouldn't it be great to get the part you need, how you need it, without all the back and forth of the standard way of doing things? Automation is about doing things faster, more precise, and less expensive. Configurable components are the easiest to design with and purchase. Select the product online, geometry desired, the material and surface finish, then input the size for each configurable dimension within the range and increments shown. You'll get a smart part number, instant price, days to ship, and the CAD model. Why is this so important? Because all those drawing classes you just finished, forget them. No more GD&T, just download the models. Please do not submit these to your CAD professor. I'd like to switch gears to show some industry designs that use configurable components. The first is 3D printers. 3D printing is a process for making a physical object from a three-dimensional digital model by laying successive thin layers of a material. What you're looking at here is a desktop, homemade 3D printer which happens to work incredibly efficient. Compare that to the Replicator 2 MakerBot 3D printer that can print anything, including your very own Lindsay Lohan. I'm obviously joking. Or am I? Both of these printers are using Misumi's configurable components, except one is 5 times more expensive than the other. Here's how our industry uses linear actuators. I give you the Gears of Death from National Instruments. This very cool design is using Misumi's linear actuators to display high-tech, precise motion in a 3-axis environment at high speeds. The gears are passing within microns of each other without colliding, executing a 3D helical arc. Now that you've seen how our industry uses these components, here's how this applies to your senior design projects. FSU and FAMU RoboOps team took on the NASA challenge of building a remote-driven rover. The team members controlling the rover had to compete with only onboard cameras and equipment to guide them, driving the rover in Houston, Texas, while they were still at their respective universities. They utilized many Misumi components, like our pre-machined rotary shafts for axles to drive the 6 carbon fiber legs. Here is a close-up of the Rock Gripper's drivetrain. A DC motor drives a pair of sprockets that turns one arm shaft. A second pair of gears and mesh couples the output motion of each arm. The opposing rotation of the gears is what makes the rock gripper's arm move opposite to one another as desired. The chain and sprockets turn a simple lead screw along two linear shafts with bushings to move the sample extraction module carriage right and left. The lifting of the rod-type actuator is a cam follower riding the aluminum guides on the side. The actuator provides the power when it hits up against the shaft collar. There is a real elegance and efficiency to this design that sets the bar high for senior design projects. We congratulate the FSU and FAMU team and all their hard work. In NASA's 4th annual robotic mining competition, Purdue University's Lunabotic team designed and built a mining robot that can traverse the simulated Martian chaotic terrain. It had to excavate Martian regolith, which is scientists for a rock on Mars, and deposit the regolith into a collector bin within 10 minutes. Kaizad and his team took advantage of the timing belts, sprockets, and chains to motorize the material conveyor. They avoided additional drawing and machining time in the build process by just configuring the components as they needed. Concordia University dove into designing a stereo lithography apparatus. Using linear guides, they controlled the precise movements of the axis and used a motor to drive the undercarriage motion, connecting an Oldham coupling to drive the pulleys. The couplings were used to directly connect the motor to turn the lead screw. The pulleys were mounted on short shafts designed specifically to hold pulleys, called cantilever shafts. They also used them to hold the rollers of the upper carriage, which rolls on the aluminum frame. Misumi's configurable aluminum frame and brackets are used, which come machined and cut to your specifications. The Concordia students also improvised a mount for one end of the lead screw by modifying an aluminum corner bracket. Their design shows a high level of mechanical sophistication, and we are proud to have been a small part of it. Here's how to apply Misumi to your designs. Misumi has hundreds of thousands of components, of which many are configurable. Configurable means that you can specify the exact size of several dimensions across broad ranges and as fine as 0.01 millimeter increments, making a smart part number and getting the CAD model. With so many products in uncountable configurations, we have developed innovative search functions for engineers' ease of use to save design time for all your assembly automation equipment. For example, we will select shaft support. Start to configure your components from the left-hand navigation. Here, you can select any of your specifications in any order that you wish. We are going to select the T-shape. The results appear to the right in either a list view, photo view, or side-by-side comparison view. In this case, we have selected a shaft support using a set screw. At the configurator, begin making the final selections for your component as well as the ability to see supporting information within multiple tabs. For example, let's begin with a 10mm ID. We will use a 1045 carbon steel, add a black oxide coating, which at Misumi does not require batch charges, followed by through holes for mounting, and select either a standard height or configure to the exact height you need, an example being 38.1. No need to compromise your design, no need to make and send out custom drawings to machine shops. Now you have your final smart part number and can view unit cost and time to ship. You can also get your CAD and see your 3D preview of the part you just configured. Within the preview, you confirm this is the configuration you need and then download the CAD in the file that you need. Using your smart part number, you can save to your components list, copy the part number and quantity to your clipboard, or restart your search for similar products. Here's how simple it is to register for the 30% discount, CAD downloads, and Misumi sponsorship. Go to MisumiUSA.com and click on the orange New User tab at the top right. For students, we suggest that you each create an individual account so that you are eligible for discounts, sponsorships, and access to your own CAD downloads. A credit card is not required to register. For faculty members who will be placing orders for students, you have the option of using an individual account as well as the luxuries of opening a terms account. Opening terms will allow you to add multiple faculty members and students to the account so that they have rights to place orders as well. When filling out the individual registration form, you will be asked to provide your information. Though all these fields are important, the most critical entry for students is the company field. This is where you will enter your school's name followed by the letter MUP13 as it's shown here. This code, along with your school name, will identify the program and the partnership. The same critical fields apply to terms accounts as well. Be sure to check the taxable section of the form. Many universities are considered non-taxable, so please make sure of this before you make your selection. After you enter your terms information, you will be directed to this next screen where you can select multiple users. You can give each user purchasing power or simply allow them to quote using the terms account. It's common to give students quoting privileges. This makes it simple to select their quote and make the purchase for them. Thank you for allowing us to present, and we hope you find this information useful for both your design course and your respective careers. All of Misumi's configurable components and 1 million products can be found at MisumiUSA.com. Students, please do not forget to register for your own individual account. Keep in mind that Misumi's free CAD downloads will certainly save you time. Remember to enter your school name followed by the code MUP13 for the 30% discount. Interested in sponsorship? For requests, please contact Jacob Oji at joji@MisumiUSA.com. Connect with us to join the conversation and see exclusive content. We're passing out an email sign-up sheet. We will use this information solely for endorsing and making recommendations on your LinkedIn profiles. Over 75% of our industry use Misumi for configurable parts. Having a good relationship with the engineering managers along with the Misumi recommendation can add depth to your resume. Thank you again and welcome to the Misumi University program.